Malaysia Madani. You're watching News at 10 with me, Berita RTM. Making the headlines tonight. Malaysia, Singapore to explore cooperation on food security. Free study sponsorship program for poor students. Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim sees food security as one area of cooperation that can be explored with Singapore for the benefit of both countries. In a speech at the official launch hosted by his Singapore counterpart Lee Hsien Loong today, Dato' Sri Anwar said this new era could be explored amid outstanding issues that both Malaysia and Singapore needed to further focus on.
And this is an area which I think would solicit the support of Singapore to use Malaysia as their heartland to produce for the benefit of Malaysia and Singapore.
The Prime Minister added that Singapore could invest in food production in Malaysia and this could help reduce the latest food import bills, which amounted to 70 billion ringgit a year. Meanwhile, in his toast speech, Lee said they had a fruitful discussion, including on how to make progress on outstanding bilateral issues.
As close friends and neighbours, the destinies of Singapore and Malaysia are intertwined. When we work constructively together, we produce win-win outcomes with tangible benefits for our peoples and businesses. I'm confident that with Prime Minister Anwar's support, Singapore-Malaysia relations can reach greater heights.
Earlier, Dato' Sri Anwar held a four-eyed meeting with Lee before calling on President Halimah Yacob. Dato' Sri Anwar also said that Singapore has agreed to enhance discussions and cooperation on issues related to congestion at the causeway. He added that a new mechanism will also be introduced to ease cross-border travel between the two countries, involving over 150,000 Malaysians working in Singapore. Dato' Sri Anwar said that the Communications and Digital Ministry has been tasked to look into the matter.
Having to wake up 4 a.m. in the morning. Now, what sort of leaders are we? We just don't care. What happens if I come from that family, having to survive, to work in Singapore, wake up at 3:34 in the morning and move to Singapore to work with huge queues? So we agreed, okay, temporarily, before we change the system of digital, whatever, cards, whatever, is Fahmi need to work faster on that.
The Higher Education Ministry KPT hopes to introduce a free study sponsorship program for first-generation students from poor families who are able to pursue studies at institutions of higher learning. Its Minister Dato' Sri Muhammad Khalid Nordin said the matter will be tabled to the Cabinet for approval.
Sudah sampai masanya kita menggunakan pendidikan percuma untuk menamatkan kemiskinan. Kemiskinan mesti dibasmi dengan ilmu dan kemahiran, bukan bantuan sara hidup tidak berkesudahan. Mekanisme dan dasar ini akan dibawa ke perhatian Jemaah Menteri untuk disokong dan dijadikan dasar yang berkelangsungan. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Speaking at the Ministry's New Year mandate in Putrajaya today, Dato' Sri Muhammad Khalid said the Ministry also planned to give the National Higher Education Fund Corporation (PTPTN) new touch by studying the suitability of turning it into a national trust fund. He said the Ministry aimed to reduce PTPTN's debt burden to ensure its sustainability and make it a national education financing institution that allows all individuals from inside and outside the country to contribute to the funding of the country's higher education. Meanwhile, Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid said a committee will be formed soon to review the National Higher Education Policy to ensure all plans and policies by the ministry are based on current reality and include the importance of a sustainable future. He added that the committee would be given 3 months to submit findings and suggestions for improvement.
Dapatan dan saranan penambahbaikan daripada jawatan kuasa ini sangat kritikal atas beberapa sebab. Pertama, lanskap pendidikan nasional hari ini sudah menjadi semakin multifaceted. Kedudukan dan peranan semua pihak mesti dilihat dan diperkemaskan semula. Kedua, segala yang berlaku di sekeliling kita, sama ada wabak kesihatan atau perubahan iklim atau krisis tenaga maupun cognitive war, akan secara tidak langsung mengheret kita menjadi sebahagian daripada pemainnya.
He said that the higher education sector is no longer limited to providing skilled graduates to fill the job market. The minister also suggested a white paper on a new horizon for science, technology and innovation, a strategy for Malaysia to prepare the ministry to manage the various changes and technological booms that affect teaching and learning. Regarding the selection of leadership at institutions of higher learning and agencies under the ministry, Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid said it would go through a strict, thorough and objective screening process to ensure the positions would be filled by the most qualified and credible candidates. He said the strict screenings would be conducted to reflect the professional, fair, objective and non-political attitude of the ministry in translating the various national policies and programs.
Ia akan menjadi satu proses pencarian yang terbuka, tidak politikal tetapi mengutamakan mereka yang memahami aspirasi nasional. Kita mahukan semua kepimpinan IPT, terutamanya Naib Chancellor serta timbalan mereka menjadi pemimpin yang berkesan. Pemimpin yang mengurus dan memimpin dengan harmoni, menangani segala kepelbagaian dengan baik dan membongkar segala potensi dalam institusinya.
He also called on the ministry's staff to educate students to be on the right track to meet academic standards and intellectual culture. The ministry, he said, no longer focus on soft and practical skills, but on the need to be equipped with artificial intelligence for managing people and technology. The assessment of house damage for the purpose of providing assistance to flood victims will be conducted thoroughly with priority given to badly affected houses. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, who is also the Minister of Rural and Regional Development, said the ministry together with the district officers will work together to assess the damage caused by the flood.
Dan dalam hal ini kita harus lebih cermat di dalam penelitian pemberian bantuan kerana pengalaman yang lalu memperlihatkan bahawa apabila berlaku banjir sejumlah mangsa telah dikelar pasti, tetapi apabila bantuan mahu diberikan, jumlah itu mungkin bertambah atas faktor-faktor yang diketahui sendiri oleh ketua isi rumah itu.
He told this to reporters after handing over contributions to 968 families at the flood relief centres at Sekolah Kebangsaan Pitas in Sabah today. In addition, Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid said the ministry was also assessing the damage to roads affected by the floods in the country. Commenting on his visit to Pitas, Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid said it was to survey the areas affected by the floods in Sabah. He said although the situation is improving and many victims have returned to their homes, these areas are in the post-flood phase where the ministry will focus on cleaning and repairing the affected houses. Still Still to come, LCS procurement reduced to 5 vessels. Stay tuned. The Ministry of Plantation Industries and Commodities is looking at the medicinal potential of cannabis and ketum plants. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof said discussions would be held between his ministry and the Ministry of Health on the methods of controlled cultivation and production of cannabis and ketum if they were allowed to be grown for medicinal purposes in this country. Datuk Seri Fadilah, who is also Plantations and Commodities Minister, said he had received presentations on the potential of the plants given by several industry players and associations related to cannabis and knaf.
Bila kata cannabis ini, persepsinya agak berat. Jadi sebab itu kita kena uruskan, dan saya melihat bahawa kalau kita dapat producekan dalam keadaan terkawal, maknanya dari segi tanaman, proses dan kesuhannya, tapi lebih kepada untuk medicinal value. Ada value perubatan, sama ada hasil minyaknya ataupun hasil-hasil lebih kepada untuk ekspor. Malahan untuk dijadikan proses perubatan dalam negara kita, mungkin ini salah satu yang boleh kita fokuskan.
He was speaking during a press conference after attending a briefing on the development of the knaf industry and regulations of the tobacco industry at the National Knaf and Tobacco Board (LKTN) headquarters in Kota Baru today. The procurement of the first batch of the Littoral Combat Ship LCS has been reduced from 6 to 5 vessels after the application to continue the project was discussed again by the government. Navy Chief Admiral Dato' Abdul Rahman Ayub said with the presence of LCS, it can help the LDM to strengthen its capability and carry out its task with excellence.
Saya difahamkan progresnya adalah baik. Ada supplementary agreement yang ke-6 akan ditandatangani tidak berapa lama masa lagi, dan seterusnya sekiranya itu dilaksanakan akan membolehkan proses seterusnya berjalan, dan pembinaan akan diteruskanlah seperti dirancang.
He told reporters after delivering his maiden speech after being appointed as the 18th Royal Malaysian Navy TLDM Chief at Wisma Pertahanan today. In the meantime, Dato' Abdul Rahman said the procurement of the second batch of Littoral Mission Ship LMS would be realised in safeguarding the security and sovereignty of the country's waters. The High Court today postponed the hearing of former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak's trial involving the misappropriation of 2.3 billion ringgit from 1MDB funds. Judge Datuk Colin Lawrence Sekura allowed the postponement following a request by Deputy Public Prosecutor Ahmad Akram Garib following the sudden passing of Datuk Seri Gopal Sri Ram. Ahmad Akram requested an adjournment for today and tomorrow to redistribute the case workload and to attend Sri Ram's wake tomorrow. Datuk Sri Najib's lead counsel Tan Sri Muhammad Shafi'i Abdullah did not object to it. The court then allowed the postponement and fixed Thursday to continue the hearing. The trial had been fixed to continue today, with the defence to continue with its cross-examination of former Embank Relationship Manager Joanna Yu Gingping. Sri Ram passed away yesterday at the age of 79 at a private hospital here. He was admitted to the intensive care unit ICU last week for a lung infection. The prosecution today withdrew its appeals to forfeit monies totaling 21.7 million ringgit belonging to 11 entities and individuals, including Pekan UMNO and the Johor UMNO Liaison Committee, allegedly linked to 1MDB funds. Deputy Public Prosecutor DPP Kamal Barin Omar, along with DPPS Samiha Razali and Nik Haslini Hashim, informed a 3-member bench led by Judge Datuk Seri Kamaruddin Mat Said that they had filed a notice of discontinuance last Friday. The other entities and individuals involved are Jekyll Trading Sdn Bhd, Barisan Nasional Johor Bahru Division, Media Age CIA Malaysia Sendirian Berhad, Sarawak United People's Party, Director for Strategic Engagement Media Sendirian Berhad, Sim Sai Hun, AGA Touch Malaysia Sendirian Berhad, Yayasan Persatuan Bekas Anggota Kemas Malaysia, and former Land and Cooperative Development Minister Tan Sri Kasih Gadam. Kamal Barin also told the court that monies that were seized would be returned to the respondents. Justice Datuk Sri Kamaruddin, who presided with Justices Datuk Abu Bakar Jais and Datuk Supanglian, then struck out the appeals. Malayan Banking Berhad Maybank has introduced a kill switch for customers to deactivate their Maybank 2U web and the May application access should they notice something peculiar or believe that they have been scammed. In a statement today, Maybank said the kill switch is a part of the bank's online security enhancement and ongoing efforts to combat online scams. The kill switch can be activated via the Maybank 2U web or May app, and once enabled, customers will be automatically logged out of all active online sessions on the May app as well as the Maybank 2U app and web. For security reasons, during the deactivation period, customers will not be able to log into Maybank 2U, or reactivation can only be done after verification via branch or the Maybank Group customer care. This will also prevent scammers or any unauthorized parties from accessing M2U or the May app, causing a further outflow of funds. Maybank Star customers are still able to withdraw cash from automated teller machines, ATMs, after enabling the kill switch and make purchases using the Maybank debit or credit cards. However, cardless and contactless cash withdrawals will not be available during this time, as they requires customers to log into Maybank 2U. Join NATO without Sweden. There are more coming up in the foreign segment. Tunisia's main opposition coalition urged a united front against President Kais Saied after just 11.3% of Tunisians voted on Sunday in a second-round poll for a toothless parliament in the politically divided nation. Head of the National Salvation Front, Ahmed Najib Chebi, calls on political groups and civil society to join hands to work for change in the form of Kais Saied's departure and early presidential elections. Following a similar turnout in December's first-round vote, Sunday's poor participation was another blow to Saied, who has stripped the legislature of its powers and granted himself far-reaching authority since his dramatic 2021 power grab in the birthplace of the Arab Spring uprisings. The latest poll was seen as the final pillar of Saied's transformation of politics, ushering in a new legislature that will have almost no authority to hold the president or government to account. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said for the first time that Ankara could accept Finland into NATO without its Nordic neighbour Sweden. Erdogan's comments during a televised meeting with younger voters came days after Ankara suspended NATO accession talks with the two countries. Its decision threatened to derail NATO's hopes of expanding the bloc to 32 countries at the summit planned for July in the Lithuanian capital Vilnius. Finland and Sweden dropped decades of military non-alignment and applied to join the US-led defense alliance in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Turkey and Hungary remain the only members to have failed to ratify the two bids by votes in parliament. The Hungarian legislature is expected to approve both bids in February. But Erdogan has dug in his heels heading into a tightly contested 14 May election in which he is trying to energize his conservative and nationalist support base. Erdogan's main complaint has been with Sweden's refusal to extradite dozens of suspects that Ankara links to outlaw Kurdish militants and have failed 2016 coup attempt. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg asked South Korea to step up military support for Ukraine, suggesting it reconsider its policy of not exporting weapons to countries in conflict. Stoltenberg is in Seoul on the first leg of his Asia trip, which will also take in Japan as part of a drive to boost ties with the region's democratic allies in the face of the Ukraine conflict and growing competition from China.
The same relationship, but of course organized in a different way.
He met top South Korean officials on Sunday and on Monday urged Seoul to do more to help Kiev, saying there was an urgent need for more ammunition.
Even stronger.
Security is not regional. Security in our times is global, and we see that with the war in Ukraine. If President Putin wins in Ukraine, it will be a tragedy for the Ukrainians, but also send a very dangerous message to authoritarian leaders all over the world. And that will have direct consequences for security and stability in this part of the world, in Asia.
South Korea has provided non-lethal and humanitarian aid to Kiev, and since the invasion has signed deals to sell hundreds of tanks to European countries, including NATO member Poland. But Seoul has long-standing policies against the export of weapons to governments in active conflict, which it has said makes it difficult to provide arms directly to Ukraine. Russians shelling of Ukraine's southern city of Kherson left at least 3 people dead, President Volodymyr Zelensky said, while a strike on Kharkiv called 1 person, according to the regional governor. The front in southern Ukraine has been considerably quieter recently than in the east, with Moscow withdrawing from Kherson city in November last year. But the key city and regional capital is still subject to frequent shelling. In eastern Kharkiv, the second largest city in Ukraine, the governor of the regional military administration said a Russian strike hit a 4-story residential building. At the Zaporizhia region of southern Ukraine, where fighting intensified in recent days after several months of stagnant front, Moscow-appointed officials said Kiev struck a railway bridge, killing 4 people. Ukraine on Sunday carried out an attack from HIMARS multiple rocket launcher on a railway bridge across the Molodchanya River. The bridge is in a village north of the Russian-controlled city of Melitopol and was undergoing repairs, according to Belitsky. Russia claims to have annexed the Zaporizhia and Kherson regions along with 2 other Ukrainian regions in the east, but does not fully control these territories. Next in sports, Germany staged a comeback to win Hockey World Cup. Stay with us. Germany came from 2-0 behind to overcome defending champions Belgium and win the Hockey World Cup on Sunday in a dramatic seesaw final ending in a sudden death shootout. This is the 3rd time Germany managed to clinch the world title.
Kita dapat saksikan serangan.
Belgium went ahead in the first quarter in Bhubaneswar, India, with Florent Venable collecting the ball after a deflection and smashing it powerfully into the backboard. Moments later, Tanguy Cousins doubled Belgium's lead, collecting a neat cross in front of the German goal for an easy tap-in. Germany reviewed the goal decision, but it stood. Early in the second quarter, Belgium's keeper Vincent van Dijk saved a penalty stroke, but just before half-time, Nicolas Welland got one back for Germany. Germany then scored through Gonzalo Pelat to make it 2-2, and in the final period, captain Max Grambusch squeezed a shot between Van Dijk's legs to go ahead 3-2. But with under 2 minutes remaining, Belgium's Tom Boon equalized from a penalty corner, taking the game into a shootout. This went to sudden death and Germany won 5-4. Borussia Dortmund cruised past hosts of Bayer Leverkusen 2-0 yesterday for their 3rd win in 3 league matches since the Bundesliga resumed after the winter break, climbing to within 3 points of the top spot. Dortmund's comfortable victory snapped Leverkusen's 5-game winning run in the Bundesliga, dropping them to 9th place. And Moussa Diaby having early forced a superb save from Dortmund keeper Gregor Kobel. The visitors then doubled their lead in the 54 points, 3 off leaders Bayern Munich and 1 behind third place RB Leipzig. Roger Federer hailed Novak Djokovic's incredible effort in winning a 10th Australian Open and a record-equaling 22nd Grand Slam title on Sunday. The retired Federer, who won 20 majors, said this in a brief message on Instagram. Djokovic defeated Stefanos Tsitsipas in straight sets early Sunday to add another Australian Open trophy to his 7 at Wimbledon, 3 at the US Open and 2 from the French Open. His collection of 22 Grand Slam titles takes him level with Rafael Nadal. Djokovic at 35 is a year younger than Nadal, who was the defending champion in Melbourne. Nadal was knocked out in the second round and is facing up to 8 weeks on the sidelines with a hip injury. Former world number 1 Federer retired last year at the age of 41 after failing. A triumphant Novak Djokovic paraded the Australian Open trophy around the gardens of Melbourne's Government House today, his 10th title having added another entry in the plus column for those who argue he's the greatest of all time.
I'm coming back the next year.
Yeah.
Right away. I mean, I think results speak enough for themselves. You know how I feel in Australia, how well I have been playing here over the last 15 years. Actually, it was exactly 15 years ago when I won my first Grand Slam here in Melbourne. Having my parents, my brother, and my brothers at that time, and one of the brothers is here again. So it kind of makes this victory even more unique and special for me. It kind of brings back the memories from 15 years ago.
The Serbian said he had a very positive experience on his path to securing a record-equaling 22nd Grand Slam triumph, the ultimate redemption a year on from his sensational deportation from Australia due to his lack of COVID-19 vaccination. Djokovic said he had no plans to slow down and would return to Australia in 2024, telling journalists he still had a lot of passion for the sport, but conceded he found daily training routines not so interesting. All right, so that ends News at 10, wrapping up with a reminder of our top story, Malaysia-Singapore to explore cooperation on food security. Join us for more updates at 12:30 p.m. tomorrow. Till then, I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Stay tuned to Saluran Berita RTM and Salam Malaysia Madani.